Hi everybody, welcome to the Zachary Daiquiri, where today, on the 8th of February 2026, we are marking 10 years of the UK's Sexual Abuse and Sexual Violence Awareness Week. This important week in the UK aims to ensure, according to the motion passed in 2016, that a public discussion can be held about sexual abuse and violence, and that is why I am here on the final day of this Sexual Abuse and Sexual Violence Awareness Week, which runs during the first full week of February, to discuss some thoughts with you, to start a conversation at the end of this awareness week, so that we may continue it throughout the year and beyond. So I wanted to discuss with you an important piece of literature to bear in mind throughout this week, an important passage from Toni Morrison's debut novel of 1970, The Bluest Eye. This extract comes from the very end of the novel, after we have understood the horrible abuse suffered by one of the characters, and here we have Claudia, the narrator, reflecting on her and society in general's response to this sexual abuse, and I think it's very important to bear these messages in mind. All of us, all who knew her, felt so wholesome after we cleaned ourselves on her. We were so beautiful when we stood astride her ugliness. Her simplicity decorated us. Her guilt sanctified us. Her pain made us glow with health. Her awkwardness made us think we had a sense of humour. Her inarticulateness made us believe we were eloquent. Her poverty kept us generous. Even her waking dreams we used to silence our own nightmares. And she let us, and thereby deserved our contempt. We honed our egos on her, padded our characters with her frailty, and yawned in the fantasy of our strength. And fantasy it was, for we were not strong, only aggressive. We were not free, merely licensed. We were not compassionate, we were polite, not good, but well behaved. We courted death in order to call ourselves brave, and hid like thieves from life. We substituted good grammar for intellect. We switched habits to simulate maturity. We rearranged lies and called it truth, seeking in the new pattern of an old idea the revelation and the word. There is so much to reflect on in this passage, more than I can do justice to in this video. However, I think a few phrases strike me as particularly important. First, we were not compassionate. We were polite. Not good, but well behaved. Morrison here suggests that if we are met with a survivor's testimony, we should not be well behaved, because of course to be well behaved is to follow the norms of the society in which we find ourselves. In the novel The Bluest Eye, much like in today's society, unfortunately, these norms uphold the culture of silence. Of course, the first people to suffer from this culture of silence and this pressure to be well behaved are survivors themselves, who are perhaps put off sharing their testimony and their story for fear of breaking work relationships, friend relationships, family relationships, and that is why it is up to us, those who can hear the survivors, to let them know that they are heard, and not to be well behaved either in the face of their testimonies. And so the message, once again, do not be well behaved. For if the survivor has broken the silence by coming out with their story and their testimony, it is the least we can do to maintain this discussion. And so, however discomforting this truth may be to hear and to understand, know that it is even more so, unimaginably more so, for the survivor who has experienced it. Accept the truth for what it is: messy, disorganized, certainly disruptive, at times even catastrophic, but do not rearrange lies and present it as the truth. Accept the truth for what it is. Know that this truth comes from a place of courage, which intends in its apocalyptic force, from the Greek apokalypsi, meaning revelation, to carve out a future in which the truth is valued in and of itself, not in terms of its effect on adjacent relationships. Too many times I have seen people hide from the truth for fear of social ostracism. But no, do not contribute to the culture of silence. The bravery of the survivor who has spoken out deserves to be echoed. The conversation, once started, must be continued. So if you find yourself in this position, listen actively, act accordingly, direct discreetly, and do not be well behaved. Now the bravery of the survivor who has spoken out may not be matched, but meet their truth with as much force as it conveys to you.